won't be mine's got to be a separate motion, so I'll withdraw it. I can't make it because there's one on the floor.
We make a final report in which we make recommendations
Yes.
that we don't want to put into referendum, but we make recommendations that our discussion has brought forward.
If it's timely, I would call the question. That's the motion.
Mr. Chairman?
Sure.
Yes. Can I have you repeat the motion specifically?
The motion is simply to continue as the reporting relationship as it is. So we aren't making a recommendation for any change.
Change to the
So
charter.
the relationship right now is that the economic development person reports to the county commissioners as opposed to the county administrator.
Correct.
To leave the language exactly as it is.
Yes.
Personally, I would find that very cumbersome if I were a commissioner. My job would be to hire a county manager. The county manager should be responsible for managing the people under him, even economic development. And then, if I've got other things I would like to have the economic development person bring to the county commissioners, yes, we could do that. I've never seen a structure that would be that diluted. You've got to keep in mind, yes, I have corporate background, but mostly I have military background. And you just don't do that. If you want decisions made, you hire someone, give them the responsibility to do it, and if you later on you have to fire them, you have to fire them because they didn't comply with what you want them to do. But right now, it seems like you're asking the county commissioners to almost micromanage the things that are happening economically. That's a tough position, and it dilutes everything. I don't think you get your money's worth that way from the economic development person.
Call the question again.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, all in favor of the motion, please raise your hand.
Leave the language exactly as it is, right?
All against? Motion carries. All right, we're going on a jump. Exactly.
What's the number, please?
11 to 4.
Thank you.
Do we want to continue on, or do we want to, we've been at this an hour, so you tell me, or we can wait till next meeting, because next meeting, we start at 3 o'clock, remember, at 3 o'clock. That's for a reason so that we can spend a lot of time getting into what we just went through now for the last 20 minutes.
Well, the
What's your
constitutional
pleasure?
officers had no recommendation, the administrative staff, we discussed their recommendation, just now we moved on it, and so all we have left is the other boards and agencies. And you have a number of recommendations, is that right?
Well, if I could ask a question, Paula, on, did y'all want to treat as changes, there were references about expanding the requirement of the BOCC on MSTUs, research exemption of churches or nonprofits from taxation, consider adding the citizens forum. Are those recommendations to change the charter or for those other comments within the report?
The citizens forum is going to be a recommendation in the final draft. Exempting churches, we have to discuss whether we want to include, that was a recommendation that came from several citizens, and I thought it was worthy of discussion, and we found out that you must include all 501c3 organizations. And the impact, you remember we had the report on that, the impact on the areas in which these agencies are. He just looked at churches. He didn't look at 501c3s. For just churches, it was like $1.60 per other property. So the increase was negligible. But if we're going to consider it, then we have to have the director of that department look at the areas where there are also 501c3s, or if you want to just vote that down now, that's fine. To consider that.
Phil?
Mr. Chairman, we also had heard in the discussion about that other counties do exempt churches. Now, I don't know how they make a decision to do it, if that's true, and we're just hesitant to make that decision. But I think it's worth exploring because it was put on the table. And that was part of the discussion, that other counties do that.
Rob, can you?
And they distinguish, the Church of the Holy Spirit from the Homeless Coalition.
The
Yeah, they
city
made
of
that
Punta Gorda
decision.
does not collect ad valorem tax from churches.
How do they distinguish between legitimate churches and ones that people just decided to start a church for the exemption?
I believe it's all 501c3. I think the common
I think you will
reference
find
is that
that the
churches
no
are
501c3
taxed,
based
but
on
it's because that's more prevalent. You look at a church and say they're not on the tax
What's in the
rolls.
county
You don't
is
realize there was discussion
assessment,
recently
it's not
about
tax.
the Maracaibo property
Use
going off the
assessment.
tax rolls because it's a 501c3. So I don't believe there's a distinction. I'm not aware of a distinction in the other communities.
Do you want to just vote that up or down?
Well, are you making, I guess,
Or you want to discuss that with the MSBU's, because that was all it was pertaining to.
well, all of these, examine, discuss, research, explore, are those charter review recommendations, or are they just something that would go in the final report?
Well, no, we were going to, we researched it, but we didn't research it, we just researched it for churches. So, and then that's part of the MSBU's, because that was a recommendation in those areas only, not throughout the county, it was just for those areas. And you have a lot about MSBU's in your report for other boards and agencies, right?
Yeah. All right. Could I make a suggestion?
Yes,
Because it sounds like constitutional officers, we've kind of dispensed with their report. Administrative staff, we've dispensed with their report. Paul, if I'm hearing you right, then the only change out of the Board of County Commissioners subcommittee would be the exemption of churches and nonprofits. So if that's the only, that's the only one that would be a charter change, if it's approved. So I would suggest that we've got to do more research on that one. We look at that as a potential change at our next meeting. I can go into our subcommittee's changes today or at the next meeting, whatever the.
we also had that recommendation on Article 2, Section 2.2G about lowering the from 10% to 7%.
That was part of our
That's right, correct.
recommendation. Mr. Chairman.
And then, I just say, but, and also, what's presented to us today, and we might want to take that up for next meeting, is do we want to limit the terms on the charter review board, have it elected or / appointed? You know, we need to obviously look at that too, to clarify citizens today.
How, I'm kind of like wondering about that. I'm very much aware that some people know that we've been on, many people have been on too many years, and I'm in favor of limiting the terms, very much so. But I don't know about how you can elect this board. Do you mean in a general election?
Well, that was what suggested. Sarasota does it.
A what?
But
Sarasota County does that.
But I think do they elect every time, or do they elect every?
I think they have terms.
Wow. She may have to go out and run a campaign.
Yeah, well, would you give us an explanation of how that could be done? I know how you could just say limit the terms to whatever, but I want to figure out how you could get the people more involved, because apparently there are a number of people that feel this commission that's being selected by the Board of County Commissioners is not satisfactory to the population of the county. And I'd like to explore that other avenue.
And also, you know, our report was based on information we got from the commissioners.
Right.
And having said that, there's been a lot of discussion, or input anyways, from the citizens about electing commissioners district-wide instead of county-wise. And I think that's worth exploring. Plus, if I recall, I think Mr. Schaefer, and that research needs to be done on this, he brought up a court case that may impact this. You know, I'll stand corrected, I don't have it in front of me, so it's a little fuzzy, but that there's been court decisions that have gone against counties that elect these representatives, you know, commissioners, district-wide, I mean, county-wise as opposed.
That was several months ago. I researched that. They were cases, they were not on point to that issue.
Okay. Well, you know, in addition to that, you know, we've had citizens come forth. I mean, again, you know me, I'm in favor of citizens. This is citizens' government. At a minimum, let them deciding, do they want to elect their commissioners district-wide or not? That's not for me to say.
What is the advantage of, what are we trying to fix here? That's what if it ain't broke, don't fix it. What are we trying to fix here?
We're trying to fix,
Giving
Yeah.
citizens
the choice of how they want their government elected. That's the fix.
But can I just, I'm very confused. Your committee didn't make that as a recommendation, so it feels like we're,
Based on what the commissioners wanted,
but
Input from the commissioners.
we've heard input for months about this issue. And so I'm just confused. Are we gonna
I
go
think
through
what-
everything?
Yeah, and what Rob and I talked about the last meeting was just actually going through everything we've heard, so that we know at the end, we've
Okay,
covered all
right.
grounds.
I'm sorry, then I missed
then
it.
that way
I
we
thought
would
these
know.
recommendations were what we were gonna do.
And we are, but by the same token, we owe responsibility to the citizens who come before us.
I don't
and
disagree,
speak.
I just,
And so we can bring them up for an up or down vote, pure and simple. That's why I'm looking at our next meeting, because it's at 3 o'clock. If we can really go into all of those things, get it done, and
Right.
at that point on, we're ready to move forward with our.
We'll do other boards and agencies and then come up with topics that have come from the people who
The
come to
citizens.
speak with us here
Correct.
and discuss those,
Correct,
right? That's the next meeting, okay.
correct.
Can we decide those topics ahead of time so we have them on the agenda?
Yeah, I think we can, because Tam and I have been working on it, we can put that all out there, I have a list, Rob has a list, and we'll just put them all together, we'll send them out to you, so you have them in advance. We shouldn't have any more guests at our next meeting, we're just strictly going to go into this and spend almost the entire meeting doing just what we're getting ready to do.
Mr. Chairman, what's your pleasure on the issue of commissioners by districts? Do you want to
That
have a
would be on
discussion
that
on
list,
that?
that'd be on that list. Let's put it all on it.
It'll be on the list
Oh,
for
be
the
on the
next
list,
time.
and that way
It'll be on the list.
we're up or down voting, it's a simple thing to do.
Okay,
We gotta get the whole story out though. The package, commissioners by district, was also that they would have 2 additional commissioners.
Correct,
in there, right?
correct, and an
Okay.
elected
Let's
mayor.
not forget that.
There's all kinds of things there, I've got them here, we got lots of packets from different people,
Yeah.
so
That's the next meeting.
we'll
We're
put it
gonna
all up
discuss
on the table, and that way someone can say we did at least look at it or address it.
Mr. Chairman?
Yes, ma'am.
Sir. I live in Punta Gorda, I go to bed at 9 o'clock, and would it be in order to have a motion to adjourn?
No, not at this time, we cannot.
No.
Citizens input. Anyone who wishes to address the charter, take less than 5 minutes, except yourself, 5 takes the body. And there'll be no discussion. Mr. Kessler.
Just one request. There hasn't been a whole lot on the agendas still, there's a little bit more. Is there any possible way you could somehow put that list on the agenda of what the actual business is, of what the discussion's going to be, so the citizens that are coming can see as well?
I don't see why not.
Thank you.
Is there anyone else who wishes to address the charter?
Michael Zarzana. Yeah, I'd like to see on that list additional topic of discussion about recording these meetings, both audio and video, and holding them in the main chamber for that reason, so that those who are working pay taxes to pay your salaries, or not your salary, but your boss's salaries, can have the privilege of seeing and hearing what is going on in here today and other times. And having it videotaped and audio recorded would be the way to solve that. So I would hope you would add that as a topic on the list. And also in regard to electing commissioners for districts, I think you would get a better buck for your bang for your buck. When you have a man or a woman that is accountable to a certain district, a perimeter, a border district, then people within that district know who they go to, and it just makes the representation more direct. And I think you would, the people would be better served having commissioners represent a specific district. That's all.
Is there anyone else who wishes to
My name's Lawrence L.A. Daniels. I just want to make a comment. First, I want to thank you guys.
sorry, say your name again, please.
Lawrence L.A. Daniels.
Thank you.
How you doing, Mr. Howland? I just want to thank you guys for your service. I just want to make a quick comment, and maybe you can rethink this. But I was listening with intensity about the about devoiding the economic development director, such that that person would report to those commissions as they've been doing in the past. I have a human resource background. I work for probably one of the best city managers in the state of Florida. And the honesty thing, if you want to be able to judge performance, which is what you should be doing, or what the commission should be doing in terms of the person that's responsible for economic development, that person should be reporting to one person. They have monthly reports, they have weekly reports that that person would give to the administrator, and it would be up to the administrator to transfer that information to the board. At the same time, I think it's imperative that part of this process include at every county commission meeting, since the citizens here are very active, every department head should be at those meetings such that when certain topics and certain issues come up, that particular department head can be there. The person who's responsible for that particular expertise can be there to address the citizens, because we do have a lot of citizens that are very active in this community. So it's something to look at and something to think about. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else like to address the Charter Review Commission? Anyone else like to address the Charter Review Commission? Anyone else like to address the Charter Review Commission? Motion to adjourn? Second? All right, we're out of here.